Okay, so we're seeing artificial intelligence everywhere now,
Yeah.
right? It's writing code, it's creating art, tasks we always thought needed, well, us, humans.
Yeah, that deep insight, that creativity.
Exactly. But what about coaching? Health coaching,
Mm.
specifically. That feels so fundamentally human, guiding someone through really tough, long-term behavior changes. Can AI really step into that role?
It's the big question, isn't it?
It really is. And that's what our deep dive is all about today. We're looking at some pretty comprehensive sources first, a major clinical trial that directly pitted a fully automated AI coach against a human one for diabetes prevention.
A head-to-head comparison.
Right. And alongside that, we've got some fascinating qualitative research really digging into what it felt like for people using both types of coaching. So we're getting the numbers and the experience.
And this is just so critical for you, the listener, to understand right now, because the underlying issue, the reason we're even talking about AI coaching, is huge. Prediabetes. It affects a massive number of people. And we know the diabetes prevention program, the DPP, works incredibly well. It really reduces the risk of developing type 2 diabetes.
So the program itself isn't the problem.
Not at all. The problem is getting people into it. These programs are just chronically underused. There aren't enough coaches. It's hard for people to access them. You know, the usual barriers.
Okay, staffing and access challenges.
Exactly. And that gap, that's where AI potentially comes in. The promise is making this kind of effective coaching available to, well, almost everyone.
Okay, let's dig into that clinical trial then. Sounds like it was pretty robust.
Oh, it was a phase 3 randomized controlled trial done across 2 different clinical centers in the U.S., really designed to see if the AI could measure up.
And who were the participants?
They had 368 adults, all with prediabetes, and also classified as overweight or obese,
Right.
and they were split into 2 groups for a whole year.
Okay, what were the groups?
So Group 1 got a fully automated AI program, everything through a mobile app, plus it connected to a Bluetooth scale. No human interaction there.
Fully automated.
Fully automated. Group 2 got the standard DPP, but delivered remotely by a live human coach. You know, phone calls, maybe secure messaging.
Got it. And how do they measure success? I saw the outcome was quite involved.
Yeah, they didn't just look at one thing, like weight loss. It was a composite outcome measured at the 12-month mark. Really rigorous.
So to count as a success, participants first had to keep their HbA1c below 6.5%. That's the key diabetes marker, right?
Exactly right. Just quickly for you listening, HbA1c gives that average blood sugar picture of the last 2 or 3 months. Keeping that down is, well, the whole point of prevention.
Right. So keep that HbA1c low, and they had to hit one of 3 other benchmarks. What were they?
Okay, so on top of the HbA1c target, they needed either at least 5% weight loss,
Right.
or a bit less weight loss, 4%, but combined with hitting 150 minutes of physical activity each week.
Right. The standard activity goal.
Or even if they didn't hit those weight or activity goals, they could still succeed by showing an absolute HbA1c reduction of at least 0.2 percentage points.
Wow. Okay, so that really covers different ways people might improve. It's
Right.
not just weight. It's sustained metabolic improvement and behavior change over a year.
Precisely. It's a high bar. And, well, here's the headline, finding that really changes things.
So that's here.
The results were basically the same, that primary composite outcome.
Oh.
31.7% of people in the AI group achieved it.
Okay. And the human group.
31.9%.
Whoa. That's incredibly close. Almost identical for a fully automated system versus humans.
It is. And crucially, that tiny difference fell well within what's called the pre-specified non-inferiority margin,
Yeah.
meaning the AI was deemed statistically non-inferior. It wasn't necessarily better, but it was close enough to the gold standard, the human coaching, that it's considered a viable, effective alternative.
That's a massive clinical validation for the AI approach.
Yeah.
Now, hang on. You mentioned the participants. What were the demographics like? I saw the median age was 58.
Yeah, that's right. Median age 58 and about 71% female.
That's really interesting, 58. You know, we often assume it's younger people who jump on these high-tech app-based things first. Did the sources say why this older group engaged so well with the AI?
That's a great question. The study itself didn't explicitly analyze why that specific demographic did well, but I think the implication is pretty powerful.
Which is?
It suggests that it's not really about age, it's about design. If the technology is well-designed, intuitive, easy to use, then even groups who aren't necessarily digital natives are perfectly receptive to automated health coaching.
Right, so it really broadens the potential reach of these AI tools beyond just the younger crowd.
Absolutely. And connecting that clinical result, the non-inferiority, back to the public health picture, that's where the AI's real advantage might lie.
Also, if they're both equally effective clinically.
Well, think about scale. If both get similar results for the people who complete the program, then the winning strategy might be the one that gets more people started in the first place, reducing those initial barriers.
Ah, okay. Because being non-inferior doesn't help if people don't even sign up or drop out right away. So how did they compare on actually starting the program?
And here the difference was pretty stark, really significant.
Okay.
For the AI-led program, a huge 93.4% of people actually initiated it, started using the app, engaging.
93%. Okay, that's high. What about the human-led group?
Considerably lower. Only 82.7% initiated the human-led program.
Wow. Okay, 83 versus 93%. That's more than a 10-point difference just in getting started. That feels like a really big deal in terms of friction.
It's a massive difference. Think about it from your perspective as someone looking to join one of these programs. The AI system made it significantly more likely you'd actually begin.
Yeah. Let's flip that statistic, the non-initiation rate. For the human coaching, it was what, like 17.3%?
Correct. 17.3% didn't start.
But for the AI?
That rate dropped to just 6.6%.
So the non-participation rate was almost cut in half.
Exactly. Fell almost in half. And that is a critical public health win.
Why is that so critical?
Because it suggests the AI is overcoming some major hurdles. Maybe it's scheduling calls with a coach. Maybe it's feeling judged. Maybe it's just the wait time to get assigned a human coach. Whatever it is, the AI seems to remove those barriers.
Right. And if you can slash non-initiation like that while still getting comparable clinical results.
You suddenly have a way to potentially scale these effective programs dramatically, reducing costs, easing staffing bottlenecks. It tackles that core access problem we talked about.
Okay, so the AI gets more people in the door. That leads perfectly to the next question. Why? What was the actual experience like? What made people more willing to start, maybe even stick with the AI? This is where that qualitative study comes in. Right?
Exactly. This study looked at text-based coaching for type 2 diabetes self-management using something called the BAP protocol.
BAP, what's that?
It stands for Brief Action Planning. It's basically a very structured, evidence-based way of coaching. It's all about helping the person set their own specific goals and make concrete action plans. It's very client-centered.
Okay, so it's a defined coaching method. And they use this for both human and AI coaches via text.
Well, technically it was humans versus a simulated chatbot, what they call a Wizard of Oz setup, where a human was likely operating the chatbot responses based on the script. But to the participant, it felt like interacting with either a human or a chatbot via text messages.
Got it. And what did people report initially?
Interestingly, at first, both groups had pretty positive experiences overall. People felt they were working with a coach. They felt more motivated. They learned things. So on the surface, similar positive feedback.
But the nuances must have emerged. What were the chatbot's unique strengths?
Two things really stood out. First, consistency and persistence. The chatbot stuck rigidly to that BAP script. It always followed up, always checked in. Participants actually described it as annoying but helpful. You know, that relentless checking in felt like necessary pushiness. The chatbot just didn't give up or get distracted like a human might.
Huh? Yeah, I can totally see that. The human coach might feel awkward pinging you again if you ignore them, but the chatbot just does, like that little digital nudge you sometimes need.
Exactly. The second big strength was, surprisingly, autonomy.
Autonomy, how so?
Because the chatbot, following its script, consistently offered menus of choices and options. Would you like to focus on A, B, or C? What step seems most feasible to you? Participants really liked this.
Why does they like that?
They said it made them feel more in control, like they had freedom to choose their path, rather than just being told what to do, which is sometimes how a human suggestion can feel, even if well-intentioned.
Okay, interesting. So consistency and fostering autonomy. What about the human coaches? Where did they really excel?
No surprise here. Empathy and context. Humans were just miles better at expressing genuine empathy, making people feel truly heard, understood, and cared for.
That emotional connection.
Right. And that led to a feeling of accountability. One participant literally said, "I felt like I can't let her down." That specific human connection creates a kind of psychological weight, a motivation that the AI just couldn't replicate.
Yeah, that makes sense. You don't feel bad letting down your app.
Pretty much. And that humanness also allowed for a much wider scope. A human coach could recognize when the real barrier wasn't motivation, but say unstable housing or losing a job or a family crisis.
Things completely outside the health plan itself.
Exactly. Major life context. The human could go off script, offer different kinds of support or resources, acknowledge those deeper issues in a way a scripted chatbot simply can't.
But there's a but here, isn't there?
There is, and it's a fascinating one. The medium they were using, text messaging, actually seemed to hamstring the human coaches.
How? Why was texting a problem for the humans?
It basically created this huge information bottleneck. Think about how much information you get from someone's tone of voice, their pauses, their body language when you talk in person or even on video.
Yeah, loads.
Texting strips almost all of that away. So the human coaches struggled. They couldn't easily build rapport. They couldn't gauge how the client was really doing or feeling. Was that short, okay reply enthusiastic or dismissive?
Ah, right. Hard to read the room via text.
Exactly. They called it a lack of social translucence. They couldn't establish that easy common ground, couldn't really tell if the client was engaged or just going through the motions. And that led to frustration on both sides, for the coach and the client. It shows that if you force humans into a really low bandwidth communication channel, you kind of negate their biggest advantages. So when you put all this together, from both the trial and the qualitative work, you see this clear trade-off emerging.
Okay, what's the core trade-off?
AI brings incredible scalability, it brings consistency, that relentless follow-through, and as we saw, it significantly boosts initial engagement, getting more people through the door.
Right, the practical advantages.
But the human coach provides that deep, nuanced empathy. They create that powerful sense of personal accountability. And crucially, they can handle complex, real-world context that goes way beyond the health script.
Which really points towards, well, needing both, doesn't it? A hybrid approach.
That seems to be the logical conclusion, yes. Use the AI for the things it's good at, the consistent check-ins, delivering information, maybe the initial goal setting where autonomy is valued.
And save the human experts for what? The more complex cases, high-risk moments.
Exactly. Those high-stakes interactions where empathy, complex problem-solving, and understanding that broader life context are absolutely critical. It's about using each resource smartly.
Makes sense. Was there anything else that stood out from the user experience side?
One other thing was this really strong desire for personalization. This came from participants in both groups, AI and human.
What kind of personalization?
They wanted really granular, data-driven feedback. Like they wanted the coach, human or AI, to look at their specific meal log and say, okay, this meal might have spiked your blood sugar, or connect their activity data directly to their progress. They expect these systems to really integrate all their personal health data and give tailored insights.
Yeah, people want that specific, actionable feedback based on their own numbers. Okay, so recapping this deep dive, it feels like a pivotal moment. We saw that a fully automated AI intervention could actually match the clinical impact of human coaching over 12 months for diabetes prevention.
Which is remarkable in itself.
Absolutely. But maybe even more importantly, the AI dramatically lowered the barrier to entry. It slashed that non-participation rate by almost half. That's huge for public health reach.
It really is. And that success in the DPP context immediately makes you wonder, where else could this work?
Right. That's the big closing question, isn't it? If AI coaching hit non-inferiority for diabetes prevention, what's next?
Should we be targeting other really high-stakes areas, like supporting recovery after a heart attack or a stroke, managing other chronic conditions like heart disease, where that consistency could be key?
And also, thinking back to that trial, the median age was 58?
Mm-hmm.
Will AI coaching be just as effective for, say, younger adults? Do they have different needs, different motivators? Do they respond differently to an AI versus a human?
Yeah. Does the effectiveness hold across the age spectrum? We don't know yet. There's clearly so much more to explore here about how we as humans interact with and respond to these increasingly intelligent systems in our health journey.
Definitely feels like we're just scratching the surface. A fascinating area to watch. Thanks for diving into these sources with us today.